So, hi everyone. I'm Elizabeth. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I'm super excited because we're here with one of my previous clients, Phoebe. And today we're going to be talking about the results that she created working together and meeting her man. So, hi Phoebe. Thanks for being here with me and being willing to share your story and your experience. So I asked you to come on because I think the women in my audience will really relate to your story. And one of the, amazing things about it is that you went from, which many of the women who come to work with me are feeling, is just like feeling really frustrated. Is that the word you'd use? With the men you were dating and kind of just dating itself, and confused about what was happening with one particular guy because he had come on really strong. And then you started feeling like, I'm putting in all the effort. What's going on here? And you went from that space of not feeling really pursued, not having that clarity that you wanted, to meeting this really incredible guy. I think it was like maybe less than a month later, maybe about a month later, and attracting this amazing man who just really pursued you, made you feel amazing, and you went to being in a committed relationship with him within, I think it was like 2 months. Is that right? Like from starting to date him?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want everyone to just understand and know like what happened and how that happened. So let's dive in. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
Okay, awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about what was going on for you coming into coaching? Like what were you struggling with? What were the challenges with dating that you were having when you reached out to me?
Yeah, sure. So I had been single for a very long time, but always in and out of short kind of um, dates or like periods of dating particular people. Then I just found the dating process very overwhelming. It was very stressful, and I always felt um, very anxious. So it was never an enjoyable experience because I just didn't know how to communicate my needs. And I also didn't know what was the right relationship for me to pursue. So when I met Elizabeth through a friend of mine, I wanted just some help in terms of self-reflection, firstly, to understand like what was going on, what were my patterns, and how I could use Elizabeth's coaching to help me meet someone that was available and able to give me like a safe, secure relationship that I was seeking.
Awesome. And obviously, you said yes to working together. And can you tell us a little bit about the journey? Like what happened? What were some of the biggest things that started changing for you?
Yeah, it was a it's not easy. It's not easy kind of working with a coach and kind of looking yourself in the mirror and to think back about the decisions you've made and why you made the decisions, and also just being really honest to yourself about why you chose those people that you did. So I working with you was a series of very, very kind of honest and deep conversations about the way I approach things, the way I feel about things, the way I think about things, and then seeking guidance from you to kind of walk me in the right directions, but also asking some hard-hitting questions about, why you make decisions, why do you want this, or why is this relationship serving you or not. But yeah, I think what changed for me was I was able to really trust my intuition towards the end of our experience together. I was able to see things more clearly, subjectively as well, which was really important. But it was made kind of the vetting and dating experience much more black and white because you're able to determine, who's investing in you and therefore who you should be investing back in rather than just kind of feeling very lost and confused all the time.
Yeah, and that's a huge one. I know a lot of women, I know I was like confused about that. So I know, so we did this work and you did meet an incredible guy. Can you tell us the story of how you met him? Just like catch me up because I actually don't even know all of the details of this.
Okay, sure. I think I met him towards the very last session that I worked with you. And we are colleagues actually. So it came out of the blue and it wasn't really, I'd never thought about meeting someone at work. So when I did meet him, I was actually quite dismissive and unsure because I was like, dating a lot of other people. But I remember at our last conversation, you said that I should give this person a chance, and just to not kind of not give myself reasons why I shouldn't pursue this, especially if especially if he was really kind of eager to get to know me and committed from the beginning. So yeah, that was it really. And as cliche as it sounds, it was a very, very simple relationship. It was really natural. It flowed really easily, and I always felt very important and invested by him. So there was none of the kind of back and forth and the mixed messages. Everything that you said that should happen happened, and it was very easy from the beginning till now.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that all my clients across the board tell me. It's like when I found him and like I followed this whole process and I'd gotten that clarity and I knew what I was looking for and I knew what to look for in a guy, like it's always so easy. It's really incredible, but it makes sense that it happens. So for the women who think that this, has to take a long time and they have maybe been struggling up till now, how long did it take for him to ask you to be his girlfriend? Like, I just want the women listening to hear this.
Probably 2 months. Yeah, less
Yeah.
than two.
And it happens that fast. It always does. Can you share with us a story of how that happened?
Yeah, I guess we were really kind of strong from the beginning. So although we had spent a lot of time together, I actually didn't feel anxious that he hadn't asked me to be his girlfriend for the 2 months leading up to it. Because I just felt very secure, and I knew that it was going to come at the right time. And we actually planned to go on a holiday together in Italy. And yeah, it was on one of the first days of our vacation. He just asked me, knowing that we were both committed, but just to make sure that I was sure of kind of where I stood with him, and just to make sure that we were both on the same page. But yeah, that was it. It was really easy and seamless, actually.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too, because I know when you came to work with me, part of what you were coming with was like, I have all these anxious attachment like tendencies. So what would you say played into not having all of that come up during that, the gap? Because there's always is a gap between meeting someone and then whether or not it becomes a committed relationship. How did you navigate that? What was different this time, with not just having all of the crazy anxieties coming up?
I think I was trusting myself. I think you gave me a lot of tools to work with, and I was able to really trust my intuition. So knowing that, even if it didn't work out, that I could navigate that myself. But everything that I had seen in my boyfriend now, it was very promising and very obvious that he was in it for the right reasons. But I think just knowing the back of my head that I had learned all these things after working together, that I was going to be okay regardless. But I think that's a very empowering part of this process.
Yeah, yeah. And for the women listening, because they're probably wondering, okay, so what is it like now? Like, where are you guys at now? It's been a while. How many months has it been since you guys made it official?
We made it official in October. So where are we now? So not that long actually, much less than a year. But yeah, we live together now. We actually bought our own place. We've very much intertwined into each other's lives. Yeah, it's been like I said, it's moved really fast, but I kind of always knew that when I had met the right person, that all these things would happen. And we just, yeah, had the same life goals and the same things we wanted. So making big decisions like buying our first home wasn't really a big deal because we were in it together, and yeah, excited to live together and share our lives together.
Yeah, and I think I remember when you had messaged me and you were like, he asked me, like it's official. I literally was like crying when I saw your message. I don't know if you know that. It just like made me so happy to see that. And yeah, I think this is something for the women listening to hear is like when you have all the right pieces in place and you have that level of self-trust, self-confidence, self-worth, and you really understand what's going on with the guy, like things can move so quickly. It really doesn't have to take a long time. So I think that that's really expanding for women to be able to hear, what your process has been. And of course, it can be different for everyone. So I'm curious, how is being with him different than what you've experienced in the past with men? Like, what is it like?
Um, I think it's knowing that someone loves you so much and that you can tell them anything and they'll always be there for you and there's no judgment, and kind of having so much respect for each other. So there will be days where you disagree, but I never have a doubt that, oh, he's going to leave me or this isn't going to work out. You know, he's my best friend and we work through all our problems together. And yeah, I'm really proud of the relationship we've built together.
Oh, so beautiful. So I want to switch gears a little and dive into a little bit about just like the coaching experience. I know it can be very like mysterious for women who are like on the outside trying to understand what is it exactly that happens. Like, how does this magic happen? So I wanted to just talk a little bit about your experience with that. So I'm curious, what would you say are like the key things that we did in coaching that made the difference for you that helped you find this amazing relationship?
Yeah, so previous to working with you, I had already worked with a therapist. So I actually came in feeling quite equipped with a lot, but actually working with you, it kind of enhanced even further. So it was like an addition of already what I already knew, and there was a lot of work initially around the past. So what the patterns were that I had adapted in terms of the partners I had chosen, and then there was a lot of reflective work on my family ecosystem. The people that I grew up with very close to me and the things that I saw as a child. And then we kind of walked through the different relationships I had been involved in and how that they made me feel. So that was kind of the pre-work, I think. And then what I really valued was the more forward-looking coaching part of, because so when we had worked together, I was dating multiple people, and just kind of working on it at live time with you was really helpful. I think you made me feel really confident in my decisions and helped me navigate some pretty scary ones as well. And you kind of just helped me be brave and kind of calling the shot about the things that I was unsure about, and just um, kind of weeding through the people that weren't right really, really quick. And I think that was the thing that really changed for me. I was able to trust my gut and make decisions that, if he's not right, I'm going to move to the next one, and just being able to like read it very, very clearly. Yeah, but then also kind of having someone that you can share your insecurities with, but also ask for the advice. And I think you were really helpful in giving me practical tips about how to navigate going on dates, how to talk to people, how to ask for what you want, and also how to understand someone better and what their intentions are.
Interesting. Yeah, I love to hear that. And I'm curious, like, if you were to say, like, here's like the top two or like top three, like, biggest shifts that happened for me in coaching, like, what would you say those were?
I think the first one would be like vetting, like being really clear with what you want and not steering away from that, and then removing the people that don't align with that. I think secondly would be giving the person you didn't expect a chance. So just kind of going with the flow and seeing where that takes you. And thirdly, just um, feeling respecting yourself and ensuring that people respect you. I think those, yeah, they would be the three.
Mm. And what does that look like for you, like being able to respect yourself and making sure that you're with people who are respecting you?
Yeah, I think definitely in my relationship, it helped draw kind of his attraction to me because I was very strong about the things that I believed in and strong about how I felt about myself and what I wanted in the relationship. Um, but yeah, I think people always say, "Oh, confidence is the most attractive." It is when once you're there, once you're very clear about what you want, you will no doubt draw the right person to you, and they'll respect you for the things that you are.
Yeah, so true and so important. Yeah, and you had just touched on this a little bit, but I wanted to like dive in a little bit more with this because sometimes women ask me, like I've done therapy, or I'm thinking about therapy or coaching, and how is what you do different? Like, what would I be getting from this, and how would that kind of be different? And I know you had been in therapy before you worked with me, so how would you say this work is different than therapy or maybe other things that you've tried?
I think with you, it's like working with a friend that's very, very honest, in
Oh.
real time guides you in the right direction. Whereas a therapy, they don't necessarily. It's therapy is more kind of around your upbringing, your background, but this kind of felt more like lifetime working on yourself, very practical, was very easy to understand. And I think you're very knowledgeable in what you talk about, and there wasn't anything that I've ever raised with you that you didn't have an answer to. So I always felt coming into our sessions, I came with a long list of things I needed clarity on, and you were always able to deliver.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So, for the women who heard your story today and heard your experience working together and are inspired by it and maybe interested in coaching now, why would you recommend that someone, reach out to me, maybe book a discovery call or get into my one-on-one coaching?
Yeah, because I think is most people listening, we like don't know what we don't know, and we're obviously here because we're curious about it. And I mean, for me at least, I think investing in myself was the number one priority, and it's really paid off. So yeah, I think you can reshift your priorities to make this the number one. Then I think you'll find a lot of reward and happiness in the future.
Yeah, and I'm curious, like some women I know, like they're right on the edge of their seats. They want to do it, but there's some fear there. How did you get to the point where you were like, I'm ready to make this investment in myself? Like, what was your thought process to getting there?
Yeah, I just wanted to be happy, and I didn't want anything to get in the way of that. And because of that, I was quite fearless in what I had to do to get there. So I think for anyone listening, you're only looking inwards, and it's all the things that you are in control of. And yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile investment. Yeah, for a greater reward.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Phoebe. And thank you for just sharing your story with us. And I'm going to end our recording now.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
You are so welcome. Thank you.